Hello and welcome back to the Peer-to-Peer podcast. So today we're talking about why agents are choosing TA UK over more traditional models. I'm joined today by Danny and Simon. So Danny, let's start with yourself. So what are the biggest factors when you decide to move over to TA UK?
I think, one of the main things was, joining an estate agency, not just any brokerage. For me, it's important to be surrounded by, some of the best agents in the industry, especially within a self-employed model. I sit on some of the bi-weekly calls and involved in some of the conversations, and I think actually you can see the level of agent in there is very different to being just part of a brokerage where I mentioned previously that it's a numbers game, where I think that being surrounded and being involved in an estate agency that's, wants the best was very important for me.
Simon, how about yourself?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. And I think you say the word model, and I think for us, we feel like this is a normal estate agency. I don't think this is where we've been in the past, where it's a brokerage and you're surrounded by people that are learning as they go. I think here you genuinely feel much more like an office environment. You've got colleagues to approach when you need to.
Yeah.
And the response we've had for anything we've needed has been phenomenal.
Yeah. Second to none.
With the previous guys you were with, was there one particular day or moment where you're like, I've had enough of this sort of thing, I'm off, or was it kind of a build up over time?
I think I was involved for a number of years. I was employed by the previous brokerage. I was heading up their performance and sort of getting agents into production, the onboarding process. And I think over time it gradually built up, but there was one particular day where I opened my phone after being out on an appointment, over 150 WhatsApp messages. And some of the questions in there, I was just like, are we, as nice as I possibly can, are we really allowing this kind of agent to sit in front of vendors? It just worried me, it scared me. And that's when I knew for me, I needed to be surrounded by, a bit of a better culture.
How about yourself?
Yes, I think it wasn't a particular day. I think one thing that we found was where we both work in the same city and end up with similar instructions at times. And we had two houses for sale in the same road. So it kind of led us to the normal agency thing of let's get the buyers from one house into another house and let's work together to make this work. And we took that back to the model to say, right, actually we've realised we can do this much better together than we can apart. And we couldn't get them to mould it into the way that we needed it to work. Whereas as soon as we came over to TA UK, it was just, okay, we see what you're saying, let's make it happen. And I think that's been phenomenal. It makes such a difference to us to be able to work the way we need to.
Night and day, it's working together. I think there's sometimes it's a case of, try and get agents their first listing, try and get the first sale over the line. Actually, it's a whole different beast being part of TA UK.
And how was the transition period? Was it quite a smooth and easy thing? Was it kind of a couple of speed bumps on the way? How did that kind of go from sort of day of saying, I want to depart these guys and come over? How did that go?
Absolutely fine. I think having constant communication from Steph was very, very important. The client services team, absolutely incredible. Lauren, I guess it's like what we do in our role. It's about communication. Sometimes a lack of communication can be a downfall. But I think every time we sent a text message, every time there was an email go over, it was an instant response. And for me, that was very, very important. And it's quite a scary thing. Moving one business over, it's all I've done is, build a business, build this. Actually, it was very scary, but made very, very easy, straightforward by everyone involved.
And when you did transition over, were you scared that your business was going to take a step back before it then took a step forward?
Yeah, we were. Our main concern was that while you're dealing with the changes and getting used to new systems and everything else, that your time is then limited. So you're focusing on the wrong parts of the business. So your lead gen and everything else suffers. But actually, we've found the support that's been there has meant that actually this has probably been both of us been our best month in a long time. The results we're getting off the back of having that extra support from when a call comes in and it's dealt with professionally, and you're touching base with a client, you're not actually having to book them in because they already pretty much know they can do what they want to do. It's freed up so much time for us.
Yeah, that was a big thing, wasn't it? It's the people that are answering our phone calls are asking the right questions, finding the right motivations, getting the right information, actually that makes
They're
it
estate
10
agents.
times easier for us. Yeah, for sure.
Is that the biggest thing that you've experienced coming over, or is there other parts of the package that sort of you've...
No, there's other parts, the CRM system we use, obviously the training, the support, jumping on the calls that are held bi-weekly, absolutely incredible. I think over the last few years, I've always been used to sort of leading those calls, leading the training sessions, whereas actually it's really nice to sit in the background and listen to what's actually happening in TA UK and some of the agents and some of the numbers, and just from lead gen ideas and tips and advice, and it's insane, incredible.
How about yourself?
Yeah, exactly that. And I think there was a conversation we had a few weeks ago where we'd been on one of the bi-weekly calls, and within just sitting there and listening to the people talking, that what I wanted to achieve next year pretty much doubled. And you see what is actually achievable. It's the people you're around for. It's inspiring.
And how important is it to have that community, but also to have a model that aligns with your personal values and goal for your businesses and for your personal lives as well?
Yeah, very. I mean, I want to have the biggest and best business that I can possibly have. I've got absolute massive plans and goals, and we have as a team as well. And I just think just listening to what we're surrounded by actually drives me on to a whole new level. I'm used to getting 15, 20 listings a month, but actually some of these guys, the numbers they're putting, actually I want to be the best. I want to be like them. So it's a whole new level that's there ready for us. And I think with collectively and individually, we can absolutely smash through certainly what I want to do, being surrounded by the people involved.
And do you think having that caliber of agent around you, that's going to kind of by default not kind of drag you up, but it'll make you want to elevate your game to actually be amongst that lot?
Yeah, if you aren't doing it, you're going to get left behind. And it's, I don't want to be at the bottom of the pile. It's, I like to win in the nicest possible way. So yeah, it's. I think it's also one of those that I think being held account is very, very important. Being self-employed, because it is, it's a very lonely place to be sometimes. I worked in high street agency for a long time, and that one day of transitioning over, walking downstairs to my dining room table, it's a bit like, whoa, the phone's not ringing. There's not 20 leads in my inbox. Like, now what? So I think absolutely, it's having the people around that are doing what they're doing. Yeah, it automatically takes you up.
Why do you think some agents are hesitant to swap, even though it's probably the right thing for them personally and for their business as well? Why do you think they're hesitant for kind of taking that leap effectively?
A couple of things. I think there's the financial element. I think there's the part of being scared. I think sometimes, it took me a very long time to go from employed to self-employed. It took me probably 5 or 6 years, to be honest. I think there's also that fact that some people get so comfortable in having a 9 till 6, working every other weekend, having a day off in lieu, getting into their company car, just, ticking on, getting a salary at the last Friday of every month and getting some commission and blah, blah, blah. And I also think some people are just told they're probably not good enough. If you're sitting in the high street world and you're a neg or senior neg, you've got a valuer, you've got an assistant manager, you've got a branch manager, where do you go? Like, how then do you get better at what you're doing? So naturally, I think the mindset kicks in of, I'm probably not good enough to go and value property. So I think there is a scared element of it. But what about you?
Yeah, I think particularly when it's going from one self-employed model to another, I think there's a certain degree of inertia. You know what you know how to use the CRM, you know how your leads are dealt with, you know what level of training there is. And I think it's then backed by fear. And it's the fear that when you go to somewhere else, the grass isn't always greener. And we took a long time considering what to do. And I couldn't be more pleased with what we've done. It's the results speak for themselves, don't they?
Yeah, I think sometimes you just got to have that mindset of, do you know what have you got to lose? Like, do you know what, if you're good at what you do, if you can talk to people, if you can be transparent, if you can be honest, if you know how to get up and go and find a lead, if you're self-motivated, if you're tenacious, like, do you know what, it can happen, especially with what the TA UK agency sort of what's there available to help. I think it's just a case of going for it, to be honest.
And was there a fear from your side with regard to kind of, not loss of brand, but obviously there's a change there. So your board's going from a certain colour to a different colour, your headed paper changes, your pitch changes, your website. Was there a fear of letting go of that? You've got
hyperlocal is so important for me. I've built a not something arrogant, but a pretty big business from being in just one postcode. That, you know, it allows us, for myself to do this full time. It's, you know, it's great. And it was a case of, yes, I've got to change. I spent years and years with the same face, the same photo on the same board, the same photo on all of my marketing, you know, leaflets, comp slips, business cards, all of my sponsorships all had the same photo. So it was quite a scary thing, actually, of my brand isn't now going to be whatever colour it was, it's going to be a whole new colour. And it sounds so silly. But once I got over that fear, I was a bit like, actually, like, this is exciting. Let's just crack on and do it. And made it into a bit of fun with the community, you know, spot the new boards and little bits and pieces like that, that actually it was just a mindset shift that I needed to make to actually not be worried and just, it's going to be fun. Enjoy it.
Love it. Danny, Simon, thank you so much. It's been really good. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you.